Lamorne Morris plays Keith Knight in the Hulu series Woke. I'm Matt Noel from Gold Derby, here to ask you, Lamorne, what do you think the most important element of Woke is?
The conversation starter, I think. I think we live in a I think we live in a world now where people are they're opening up more towards conversations about race, about sex, about all kinds of things. But a show like this, when we blend in comedy, we blend in absurdity with some of the talking things in the show and some of the more ridiculous notions in the show. At the end of the day, it's a conversation starter, and I think that could potentially heal people. You know, it could potentially heal the nation, if you will, to heal the world, if you will, as long as people are talking about the elephant in the room. And again, a show like this definitely helps that. So I think that's the most important element of the show. I would have, okay, so there's one A and then a one B, I will say. One
Yeah.
B will be comedy. You know, still we're making television, you know, we still want to make people laugh. So I would say right there alongside of, pushing that message forward, because by no means are we, these big political activists or, civil rights leaders or anything like that. But we want the message to get across, but we also want people to laugh and kind of have fun for 30 minutes.
Is the 1A and the 1B sort of two sides of the same coin where they serve each other? Does the comedy help start the conversations?
Absolutely, absolutely. It makes it a lot easier. If you ever been to a comedy club and the comedians maybe roasting somebody in the audience, and you're looking over at the guy, you're like, damn, I feel bad about that dude. But once that dude starts laughing, and you're like, oh, he's laughing, I can laugh too. Then everybody starts laughing. Then it's like, oh, no matter what they're talking about. Like I was watching SNL with Chappelle, and even the one with Bill Burr. I thought it's very racy, very like in your face, hard hitting jokes that opened up a lot of boxes for people. Um, but we were all laughing at it, and I think
Yeah.
and then from that point on, a lot of people were having conversations about those particular topics. And I think that's what's beautiful about comedy is that comedians, even if you're not a stand-up comedian, but I think comedic writers, comedic performers should have a license to say things and not necessarily be canceled for it or or ridiculed for it. If you don't like the jokes, you just don't like the jokes. If you don't think a person's funny, then they just you just don't think they're funny. That's one thing. But comedians can sometimes push the envelope a little bit to cause people to react and to cause people to think and talk and have conversations and maybe see things from a different point of view.
And I guess like in that sense, like comedy and protest, you see that overlap where there's real power in making someone uncomfortable.
Yeah,
Do
absolutely.
you think of a particular sort of moment from the first season of Woke where you guys did push the envelope in a certain direction?
Uh, a couple of times, I would say quite a few times. I would say there,
Mm.
Black People for Rent. The Black People for Rent episode was, something that even when we were shooting, I was like, how do I feel about this? You know, like if I saw this for real, I would need to speak to the artist. I would need to, in order for me to digest it properly, I would need to speak to the artist. And on the other side, on the surface of it all, Black People for Rent is really driving a message forward that, hey, listen, sometimes people love our culture, but they don't want to, they don't want to live in our shoes, And I think that's part of what the messaging was. But not everybody feels that way, and I think because if you take it the wrong way, like if you watch it in the show, some people were taking it quite literally. Some people were taking it back to slavery. That's what people were thinking in the show. They were like, "Oh, how much? How many Black people can I buy?" Um, I think that was a very powerful episode. I think another one was Justice for Cubby,
Mm.
where they were comparing, although very tragic, killing of an animal is tragic in of itself, but they were comparing it to, the senseless murders of certain people, Trayvon Martin, Sandra Bland, things like that. And they were like, so Trayvon, George, Cubby, on the same thing. And you're like, wait, what? I think that was definitely my favorite episode, because even as an actor, you deal with stuff in your personal life, and I just remember that week I had a lot going on in my personal life, and it lended its hand towards how my character was supposed to feel in particular scenes, and it definitely helped, and it definitely kind of helped me stay locked in. So I would say those two episodes are definitely two that push the envelope a little bit.
Yeah, and like your character definitely reaches a breaking point in that Cubby episode. So yeah, hopefully that you will look back at some point on the tough stuff in your life from that week.
Yeah,
that was an asset.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And I think an interesting thing about the Black People for Rent episode too was the whole idea of once an artist puts an artwork out, they sort of lose a little bit of control about how that's interpreted, and different people take different messages.
Oh, absolutely. I used to stay away from like art galleries and stuff because I was very cynical. I would look at something and go, "Man, what the fuck is this? This doesn't mean anything." And then the artist would be standing right there. It's like, no, actually, what it's telling you about is the complexity of the Black man. And how and I'm like, oh shit, sorry, I didn't know you were standing here. So yeah, you can take it any kind of way. I think it's open for interpretation, obviously, but again, in the culture that we live in now, Twitter culture, Instagram culture, just social media culture in general, like the message can be skewed and then have legs and carry on for miles and miles and miles away, and before you know it, you're this psychopathic artist that people are talking about, and you didn't even get a chance to explain yourself. So be careful out there, all you artists who make it crazy.
Well, you got a nice artwork behind you now. What does that mean to you? What does that represent for you? That art?
Wow. So this is a basketball hoop made out of a picture frame and what looks like the back of an old grandma's couch or something like that.
Yeah.
I'm obsessed with basketball, and I have these little hoops around my house. I think every room in my house has something basketball related, whether it's a small photo or whether it's like a basketball jersey somewhere or just a basketball laying around on the floor. I'm not the best basketball player, so I pretend to be by having stuff all over my house. If you walked in my house, you would think I was in the NBA.
Yeah.
But I'm not. And I found this at a flea market, the Fairfax flea market here in Los Angeles, and I definitely grabbed it.
Yeah. Do you have a lot of like balls of socks and scrunched up paper around the house? You're always
absolutely
trying to shoot it. Yeah.
Last night, that's what we were doing. I had this one in the. I think I'm joking. It's literally right here.
There you go.
I do it all the time, and I was, not that great. So.
Well, something the show made me think of as well, something that I hadn't really considered much before, perhaps naively haven't considered before, was a lot of the idea of thing about Keith is that sort of there seems to be more pressure on Black or minority artists in the choices they make artistically. Like as an artist yourself, was that something that sort of spoke to you or that you could relate to and connect to?
Yeah, because sometimes it feels like you're speaking for the whole culture. There was a time in our artistic history where you had to go to certain places in order to see art, Black art. We weren't represented in the major museums, and we weren't represented in television and film the way we felt like we should have been, because TV and film and even the art world didn't mirror what society actually looked like. And a lot of times where we come from, an artist will speak towards their environment. And a lot of times mainstream folks didn't want to hear about our environment. So even now, still coming from those generations of pioneers who kind of helped push the envelope forward for us, for entertainers. For me as an actor, sometimes when you write, sometimes when you create, you definitely feel the weight of the people that really bust their ass to get into this industry and to get into this business. So you feel like you're carrying that weight with you. So you do sometimes want to say things. Also, I will say, media can sometimes drive the way we view people, drive the way we view each other. If back in the day, all you see on TV is, Black folks acting a certain way, or the writing was this way, even down to white folks being in blackface in the early minstrel show days and during those times. Hell, even sometimes now, it tells a certain part of our world who don't know any Black people that this is how we are. So when you're a Black performer, you want to set the record straight as many times as you can, because we all have families, and then there are children that will grow up to continue to carry that burden of believing that what the media said about us is true. So we want to create our own narrative from a place of truth, and not from a place of racism or a place of stereotypes or a place of ignorance. So I know for me personally as a performer, I like carrying the message sometimes of being a Black weirdo, because we are all things. And if you sometimes, again, if you watch TV, they don't tell you about that. They just tell you we either one way or the other. And then you walk down the street, a kid could look at you and go, he must be like this because that's what I saw on this TV show or this movie. So for us, kind of just setting the record straight.
Yeah. Is there a scene for you in the show that was the most fun to film, or the most enjoyable for you to?
Most fun. You know what? There were a few that were really that I really enjoyed. I remember an episode with Rose McIver when I first meet the Adrian character. When I walk into this house, and this woman's chasing me around the house, and then there she is, just waiting, looks like you're trapped in a sunken place or whatever. Because I'm at this party and I didn't realize I was the invited guest, but I was also the invited artwork to the party, and my character didn't realize that. In that episode, it was so fun because all the actors who I got to play with were so good. So when you get a chance to play with, and also, I mean, the whole cast is great, but I was used to playing with T. Murph and Sashir and Blake Anderson. I was used to it, the back and forth. But with this one, I got a chance to play some of my strengths, which was awkward, uncomfortable, with them touching my hair and following me around and being so and it's just a funny idea. I don't know, that episode, I forget the name of the episode, but I really, really enjoyed filming that one. And I want to say that was one of the first times I got a chance to work with Rose. I think that's the time we introduced her character, and it was really cool to see her process and to see how she tackles a character.
Yeah. I think, is it Giggy Smalls, I think was the episode.
Giggy Smalls,
Giggy
yes.
Smalls, yeah.
Giggy Smalls, yes.
There you go. Keith is a cartoonist in the show. Do you ever draw anything? Are you a good drawer? What's your favorite thing to draw?
Say something. This is what I used to draw because it was the easiest. I used to draw these dollar signs because it was so easy, and I would just do this for some reason. So you do like 3 lines here, that, and then 3 lines underneath it, that, and then you would just connect the lines. You know what I mean? It was like I don't know why I did that. I was like, oh, that seems simple enough. If I can draw these lines and connect these lines, people will think I'm the fucking man. But they didn't. I got made fun of. I got bullied.
No. So that's great. Yeah, I'm sure that was on the back of a lot of exercise books and.
Yes, exactly. Oh my God, yes. Oh, but also I I've always wanted a tattoo. So I told myself a couple things. I didn't really know what I wanted. You know, I'm in my 30s now, and I still haven't got one. So I feel like at this point I probably won't. However, I said if Woke gets picked up for the first season, I'll get a tattoo. Well, we got picked up for the first season, and people liked the show, and it was successful. And I said, we get a second season, then I'll do it.
Yeah.
Damn it! Now we got a second season, so now I have to get this tattoo.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I'm going to draw the tattoo based off of some of my early drawings, which are really shitty, or if I'm going to have Keith Knight, the guy who I play on the show,
Oh,
have him draw something for me that I'll get put on my body. So we'll see.
that'll be cool.
Yeah, I think
That'll
so.
be good.
Unless he's a dick and then draws like
Yeah.
a dick, and then
Yeah.
then I have to get
You
like a
can
dick.
you can reserve the right to veto.
Yeah,
I
of
imagine.
course.
Like, yeah,
Of
like
course
you
you
could
Yeah.
you could get it screened before
Yeah.
it gets put on. Or it depends how much you trust Keith.
I do.
Yeah. What was the funniest moment, do you think, of the show?
Funniest moment in the show. Ooh, it's got to be something with. There's a couple. I would say T. Murph on the show, who plays Clovis, and Blake Anderson together are like those dudes. I mean, their off-camera stuff is to me funnier than the on-camera stuff. Like those guys gun it to the point where they're going back and forth, and those are two ridiculously funny guys. But I would probably say the one moment where we had an episode where the lights go out in the bar and we're watching the guys dance. I think they're listening to like Ja Rule or something. Fat Joe, I forget what they're listening to, but we're trying to play this game. Guess who's gonna say the N-word? Guess which dude's gonna say the N-word? And I remember the cue was to turn the sound off right when T. Murphy is about to say, hey, which one of you, I think his line was like, which one of you white niggas was gonna say nigga or something like that. So for you, excuse my language, but that was the line. But nobody knew if he was gonna say it or not. And there wasn't that many black people in there. So we were like trying to figure out what Murph was gonna do. And I felt bad for him because I was also like, I would go to the director and be like, hey man, do you want me to wait to say it? Because I don't want to be screaming this out loud in this bar. I know we're doing a scene, but you know, I don't know how it is over here. And the sound goes out like abruptly, and he just screams it at the top of his lungs, and nobody in the place was expecting him to say it. I think everyone was expecting to wait to get like a special of him to say it. And then he said it at the top of his lungs. And I'm telling you, everybody in there stopped and started looking at each other like, wait, is that okay? Like, can he say this? Is that okay? And I was in tears because he's a new actor and he didn't really know anybody. He was just like, hey, I'm just doing what the script said, man. I'm just doing what the script said. And I just thought it was a fun, funny moment for him, especially for his character, because his character would say that. His character would do something like that. So I think, to me, that was one of the funnier moments on set, just because of the uncertainty. And then there's a moment with Sashir Zamata, Zameda. I think she calls herself Zameda. Something stupid. She doesn't know what she's talking about. I'm gonna call her Sashir Zameda, I think. But me and her got to do a bit in an episode where we're talking about my artwork. And she reminds me of Jake Johnson from New Girl in that I will make up something and say something completely ridiculous. And as opposed to just going with it, they won't drop it. Like, and now they're forcing me to stay in that zone. And I'm like, damn it, just move the scene forward and they won't let you. So I made a comment about like how this party was. And the line was, hey man, this party is lit. And she's like, and her line is, what? I go, oh, this party is lit. And she goes, anyway. And then she moves on. But I came in and I was like, man, and I tried different takes and I said, man, this party is it's pretty lit. She goes, you never said that before, have you? And I'm like, what do you mean? She goes, you just said that this party was lit, but like the way you said it, like didn't sound like you ever said it before. And I was like, no, I mean, I've said it a couple of times. She's like, really? Can you try using it in a sentence again? And she wouldn't drop it. And I was in tears that episode. And I remember the director for that episode, Chioke Nasser, had to like pull me to the side and go, get it together. get it together because I was literally crying because she wouldn't stop doing it. But anyway, those are a couple funny moments on for me.
Well, Lamorne Morris, it's been so great chatting to you about Woke.
Dude,
All the best. No worries at all. All the best for the upcoming awards, Golden Globes, Screen Actors Guilds, various other honors that are on the awards circuit at the moment. And for people watching this interview, they can go to goldderby.com and make their own awards predictions.
Yes, and if you make those predictions, please put me in those predictions. I really appreciate it.
There you go. Heard it from the mouth of Lamorne to the predictors at home. Take a shot. Yeah.
Oh, you. All right. I'm not going to win now. Damn it.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks so much, Lamorne.